Welcome back, it's Melanie or She Shed Scrappers. Today I am back with a 2-page layout using the brand new Gnomes for Winter collection from Close to My Heart. This is a seasonal collection, and as the name says, there are a few gnomes, but not overpowering with the gnomes. I think there's fewer gnomes in this winter collection than there was in the autumn one, and I am happy with that. I'm not gonna lie. So I am going to be using the busier patterned paper for my border, and then using the white daisy for my main paper. However, I did want kind of a separation between the two, and so I brought in the sapphire, and I am going to gut that as well once I kind of have it sized where I want it, just to save it so I can back some photos and whatnot. When there's a paper that I like, especially cardstock, I will gut the middle of it so that I can kind of get the most use out of my paper. I just taped all 3 layers together, didn't make you guys watch me cut and tape them all. Originally, when I had this layout in mind, and it was actually going to be 2 1-page layouts. The pictures are from the same day, but kind of, different themed, I guess. So in the first one, the first page pictures, they're gathering, making hot cocoa, and the second one is sledding and whatnot. So I was going to separate them, but then decided, you know what, they are the same day. I was going to use the same collection. I might as well make it a 2-page layout. And so that's what I end up doing. So for the second page, you can see I'm going to make a grid. And I really had to kind of figure out how, I guess, what to use now. I wanted maybe some patterns. I love that paper I just brought in, but didn't want to waste it. I love it so much. It's almost like a mixed media snowflake paper, and just didn't want to use it all. I knew that if it was to go across both pages, that most likely I was going to need to kind of cut into both of them that were in the paper pack. And I wasn't willing to do that. So instead, I decide I'm actually going to use my inks and some stamps. With this collection, there are stamp sets and thin cuts and scrapbooking workshops, and you name it, it's included, or you can at least purchase it. I ended up just getting the paper and the sticker sheet and a stamp set. I'm trying to think if there's any embellishments. Oh, there are little acrylic snowflakes. So I did end up getting those as well. There is a gnome ice skating gnome that comes in layers. You put it together, so you can get that as well. I just chose not to. I didn't think I would use it as much, I guess, to make it worth it, but that is an option, and I believe there is a bundle. You can bundle it all together or just buy bits and pieces separate. So for page 2, you can see that I used, I believe, the mist color to blend, and then I ended up using the same color to stamp, and I did some second generation stamping, so there's some that are darker and some that are lighter, and then I get my chipped sapphire distress oxide. It matches pretty close to the Close to My Heart sapphire, and so I have not actually bought the Close to My Heart sapphire yet, because this is a good alternative. And so I did scatter a couple different snowflakes there. I didn't want it overpowering. You can see that my photos are going to cover it up quite a bit. However, the reason I did it was because I didn't have the extra space to back my photos like I usually would. And so I wanted some, almost like a barrier between the paper and the photos, and I felt like the blending of the ink and the stamped snowflakes did just that. And so I decided to just tape my photos straight to the page, and kind of go from there, I guess. In the stamp and thin cut set, there is this little toboggan, and so I decided to use that as an embellishment, and so I just It's a walnut color. This paper is espresso, I believe. And so I just stamped that and cut that out. And then I'm going to kind of add to that that little cluster to the bottom left. I loved that circular snowflake sticker. I felt like that was a good larger embellishment for that cluster as well. But I wanted a third element to that cluster. And so I went back to the stamp set and found this little mitten. And I believe that, again, this is the mist color. And so I'm going to use that and cut that out. I just did mist on mist. And the nice thing with the cardstock, it is 2 different shades. So I used the lighter side, I believe on both the toboggan and the mitten there. And that just allows the ink to show a little bit more on the paper. I decided to go ahead and add a few more smaller snowflakes kind of to finish off, I guess, almost like the clusters on each of the corners there. And for the most part, that's going to finish off page 2. I will go back a little bit and fix or add to it a little bit. For page 1, I am going to kind of angle my photos a little bit, add these zip strips across the top and the bottom. Again, I would have carried it over to page 2. However, I only had 2 of them and did want them. I felt like they kind of closed in the layout a little bit, brought the focus to the middle of that layout. And quite honestly, if you were to carry it over, the photos pretty much would cover it up based on where they lie on the page. For page 1, I do decide to back these photos. I kind of figured I had a little bit extra space. If these angled photos kind of hang over the edge a little bit, off the white paper, I was okay with that. But on page 2, with it being in a grid like that, I just didn't think it would look the best. And I had a little bit of give where I could overlap the photos more if I needed to kind of keep them into the center of the page here. You see, I am going to use that larger sticker kind of as my title. Again, these 2 layouts started out in my mind as 2 one-page layouts. And so each of them kind of have their own title, so to speak, or larger stickers with sayings. I don't know. I would have been happy with either of these layouts as a single page, but like I said, the pictures are from the same day. Figured I might as well just knock it out and get it done, I guess, and make a 2-page layout. I wanted to bring in some of that blending onto page 1 again as well. And so I did so behind where my title is going to be. So once I get these down, I am going to add a little bit, or cut a few more snowflakes, I think, from a retired die cut. I forgot, though. I jumped ahead. I bringing the banner pieces from the sticker sheet down to fill in that space. I do wish I would have blended a little bit with that banner, I think. I'm not loving it just like straight on the paper, especially because there's blended ink on kind of the rest of the clusters in the layout. So I think I would have liked that a little bit better at least. I did go ahead, and I mentioned it earlier, but cut out those snowflakes from a retired thin cut set and layered a couple of them behind the title on page 1, added one to the sticker, the larger sticker on page 2. And what I did with these ones, I believe, is just use the mist, but used both sides. And so you can kind of see behind the title on page 1 where they look to be different colors, but that is just the different shades of that mist color. So I really enjoy how the cardstock are different shades because it helps. I can use the same piece of paper and get 2, I'll say different colors, even though it's the same color, they're just different shades. So I really appreciate that. Here are some of those acrylic snowflakes, and I believe I add a few flares from Scrap and Happy Studio to finish it off as well. I think I'm getting ahead of myself again. It shouldn't surprise you at this point, but I'm going to commit to the title and those snowflakes. I believe it looks like I added Oh no, you know what? That is just cut out of the snowflake. In the center of the snowflake, it almost looks like there is like a dot, but I remember now that is just cut out of the snowflake. On other layouts, I've been using kind of my glitter gems and adding them to the center, and like the way that that looks, gives it a little bit of dimension, brings in another element as well. But here are the acrylic snowflakes. They come in different sizes, different shapes. So I do add one to the sticker on page 2, tuck a little one under the title on page 1, add one to the top of the sticker on page 1. Oh, I skipped the entire cluster on page 1 on the bottom. I am so sorry. Because we're making hot cocoa, there was a perfect sticker that said hot cocoa. I added a little tag to do a little bit of journaling down there, a flare from Scrap and Happy Studio, and just some snowflakes to finish that off. There's a close-up of that one that I completely skipped over. I apologize for that. But again, I will link this collection down below. If you are interested. I love all of your guys' support, watching my videos, liking my videos, purchasing from close to my heart, using any of my links. I definitely appreciate it. And it helps me continue creating for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this layout, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.